Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have a little question, and I would like to hear from you guys a little bit. Like what is it that so far has been working for you? Because that way we can move from then on. Not everybody at
Well,
this.
they're all on mute, so you guys go ahead and either unmute yourselves or type it in the chat if you don't know how to unmute yourself and I can unmute you, or raise your hand and I can see and I can unmute you, one or the other. Gabby, are you trying to get yourself unmuted? There you go. Go ahead, Gabby.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm just thankful you guys are doing this, but yeah, everything's working out good. Yesterday I couldn't join you guys because my kids had a Zoom meeting too. But no, I mean I really don't have any questions. I just want to thank you guys for doing this. And I've been enjoying it.
Thank you for being with us.
Okay, Yami has a comment on the chat and she's saying staying away from the news and not being over-informed. It's been working for her. Yami, Yami, you're unmuted.
Oh. Yeah, so this
is Yami, the one that gave me the advice about making a mess with the kids.
Nice.
yeah, so just yeah, I try not to really focus on everybody's posts. I don't really watch TV. I get all my news from social media. So a lot of my coworkers, like all they post is like, all the updates, they send them to me in chats, and I don't open anything. I kind of look at the headlines and then I just keep going because it does stress me out. I think yesterday was the hardest day for me because I did open an article that said that starting Friday, you have to wear a mask when you go to the stores, and I'm like, oh my God, we don't have masks. So that kind of freaked me out, and I had a very restless night. So
Okay.
yeah, so just staying away from that.
Thank you. Like this is kind of the way I wanted to start it today, and you just brought this to the table, and I'm very glad. Like for some of you that are connected with me on Facebook, I put a little post last night about really being aware of our mind. The mind can be the way to freedom, or it can be our own prison, and we talk about this all the time, but we don't really see it clearly. It's like one of those things that we just leave behind. This is like when you open an account, a new account for something that you're not even sure if you're gonna use that much, and then you forget the password, And the moment you do it, somebody asks you, are you gonna remember? Oh, please, of course, right? Are you gonna remember your username? Please, what kind of question is that, right? Then we realize what the mind does. Like the mind cannot repeat one thing exactly the same way. And the reason why is because what we have is not the same thought, it's a new one. So there is an ability of the mind that we don't really talk about much. And it has to do with kind of that feminine ability to give birth to many thoughts. So we have just one thought and we said, okay, this is a negative thought. So, like whatever it is that crossed my mind and I don't feel comfortable about. But then unfortunately, that brings so many other thoughts, right? So if we are able to catch that, and really trust me, that is the first step, and the most important one, it's like that's why, like after all this year, this is something that I keep bringing on the table all the time, because if we are not aware of that, it's like that little information that you receive, it's like now we have to wear a mask, right? we don't stay with that. We just keep putting into more and more ideas, like, so you don't have fun. What's going to happen? What's going to happen with the people that you care about? What's going to be the result of all this? So it's just noticing. It's not just the negative thought. It's not just that state that we receive. It's like it's not just one piece that is negative and we receive it and that's the end of it. Is that piece that we receive, we have the ability to create more from that. So basically, think of taking care of your mind the same way you will take care of your own garden. Even if it's one negative seed, you don't want it, right? Like for those of you who have a garden, if I said, just go ahead and plant one weed today, like just one, what's going to happen, in a week, in 2 weeks? Now, the big difference is that unfortunately, with the thoughts, this is happening so quickly that we don't even realize. So we need to talk about something that is kind of the stream and is the reason why we do so much work on our mind. The reason why meditation is becoming so popular now. That we've been talking about meditation for many, many years. Like 30, 40 years, I remember people talking about meditation. Now it's more normal to hear about it, right? Meditation is simply an awakening of our own consciousness to be able to see how the mind produces thoughts. That's all. So it's kind of things happening and I don't even notice it. Like by the time I realized that happened, I didn't sleep last night, right? By the time that happened, then I am so scared. I am acting on my fear, but I don't look at the root of it. So the more we have a balance with our mind, the more we realize what was the thought that started creating all this, and how is it that I ended up with all these ideas. Then we can go back and say, okay, so what is the sensible thing that I can do in front of this, right? And if we have to wear masks, here it is. We all have a piece of cloth at home. We can put it together and make it work, right? If we have to do it, we'll just do it. That's it. And then we stop the mind from the negative thoughts because really, truly, as days go by, what I notice is the biggest fight we have to fight right now is the mind. Like that is the biggest problem we have. Like there is all this contamination on the cognitive level. So we are receiving information, even if you don't want to, it's like there is no way. We have to communicate, right? We have to put information on social media. We have to connect to people, and you find a lot of information there, right? Even if you say, I'm not going to watch the news, I'm not going to, you get a message on your phone telling you what's happening in your area. The governor, whoever, they send you a message. So there is no way to be uninformed, and that is not the goal either. But the goal is to really, truly be mindful about filtering everything that is coming into our mind. And big thing, if nothing else from today, trust me, if you don't remember anything else that I'm going to say in the next 25 minutes or so, just remember one thing. The mind has the ability to multiply whatever it is that you put to work. So it's one little seed, and it ends up being either a beautiful garden or a crazy thing that gets out of control. Simple, basic, but super important. And it's one of those things that we don't want to hear people repeating it to you. It's like, really, seriously? You know, it's like, I've been repeating myself. I've been putting that on Facebook lately. You know, it's like, and I add a different picture and I say it in a different way, you know. But truly, really, what I want to say is, please, people, really, seriously, believe me, this is the way. If we are mindful about our thoughts, everything else is going to be easier. Because that negative thought creates an imbalance in your body, you know, a biochemical imbalance. You start generating cortisol, adrenaline. That doesn't help you, right? It's like, it is bad enough the way it is. Do we want to put more stress in our body? No. Now, a calmer mind will generate a different biological response. Now, from that calmness, then instead of reacting, we take smart decisions, you know, because the reaction is panic. The reaction is, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then from that, the mind says, oh, I have another idea here. I have one more negative thought to give you to think about. And that is a change that never ends. Now, if we go back and say, wait a second, you know, let's go back to the basis, to that first set, and take whatever action I need to take. And that's it. It's that simple. You know, it's like you hear a noise. You're about to go to bed. And then you start wondering, you know, like, did I close the door? Is it safe? I'm here by myself. Oh my God, where is my cell phone? Is it charged if I need to call 911? You know, like 200 stories in a second. Okay, you hear a noise, get up, check the door, do what you have to do, and go to bed. That's it. But unfortunately, the mind goes on and on and on. You know, it's like there is a beautiful example that I personally like a lot. And is the mind is an instrument like anything else. You know, if we are swimming, we are using the arms, right? If we are running, we are using the legs. If we are thinking, we are using the mind, right? But right now, I am not swimming. Well, it makes sense if I keep doing this while I am talking to you. You will be like, she's crazy, right? This is weird. You know, like it doesn't make sense what she's doing, right? But the mind, being an instrument, it's just moving, 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 moving. And we let it move. And we truly, really don't need it all the time. You know, like the mind is an instrument. It's not our boss. And that's where we get lost. And it's very hard to get it. And it's very boring. I know, you know, like probably you might be thinking, is like, really? You're going to keep us telling us the same idea in different ways? And it's just because as long as we don't realize that we are empowered to choose the direction of our mind, then the mind is going to be the one who is in charge. And then we're lost, you know, because it goes in an automatic way. And unfortunately, when we do that, that automatic um, information is never a good one. Why? Because we have never practiced it. You know, it's like we don't practice peaceful, loving, calming, compassionate thoughts. So when we have one idea, then after that, the change that we develop is going to be a nice one. You know, and we don't do that. And part of our nature is that because our own biology responds with the flight or fight response. It's not, oh, this is a negative situation, so let me just sit down and wish for the best for everybody and try to be calm to decide what to do. No, that's not how it works, right? So this is why this is very, very important. You know, again, if nothing else, just keep this in mind. Because as time goes by, you know, this is a process. This is going to be a matter of more time. You know, I don't want to get myself in trouble. Mm. This is going to take time. You know, that's the only thing that I can tell you for sure. This is not going to be fixed in 1 or 2 weeks. You know, like no matter what they tell us, we need to be prepared for longer. You know, and in that time, the thing that we have to take care of the most is the mind. You know, it's like if we can solidify ourselves in that calmer place, everything is going to be easier because then we can create strategies. You know, like this is like when you're planning your vacations and you are not under stress. So you're thinking, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to fly this day because it's a better day. And I'm going to go to this hotel and I'm going to go during this season. You know, it's like your mind is calm. Imagine that you're doing the same thing, but you're doing it under stress. So you're going to have a totally different result, right? And what's the difference? You know, when we say you're under stress, basically what we are saying is your mind is agitated. So if your mind is calm, then everything that you do is going to flow easily. It's going to be a source of health for you, well-being. It's going to be wonderful. You know, like you're going to be able to develop under these circumstances because unfortunately, this is something that we develop easily under difficult circumstances. You know, it's like when we have all the freedom in the world, nobody wants to hear this. It's like, are you kidding me? The mind? No, it's not the mind. You know, it's like, it's my ability to buy stuff or to go places or to do things or. And right now, it's none of that, right? Like, even if somebody tells us, you won $100,000,000, we'll be like, well, thank you. What do I do with that right now? You know, like, nothing. Like, you know, like the only thing that I hope is they don't give it to me cash because then where I'm going to put that, right? That it won't make any difference. So right now, under stress is when we say, oh yes, it's not the money, it's not having more things, it's not being attached to certain things that we consider important, it's taking care of ourselves, it's taking care of our mind. Because from that calmness, instead of being responding to everything as if everything is attacking you and everything needs to be fixed right away because we are with a sense of urgency for everything, then we are in a different place. We said, okay, I'm going to take care of, whoever is it that I am living with. I'm going to take care of what I am working on. I still have a job. I still have to do things. I still need to pay bills. We all have to do things, right? So from a calmer mind, we're going to be able to really focus on all those things instead of being in panic mode. So again, trust me, I know it's not fun. I know it's not what people want to hear, but under these circumstances is what we need to hear and what we need to do. Because we see it's reality. It's like Carla knows we've been working for some years now. And when we talked about this before, it was as if I am saying, trust me, the work is not just the way you look at it. And it's like, that I go out and I see something different. It's like all the time we're talking about these things, and then we go out and we see that it doesn't matter what I think. I just can buy something, change my house, buy a new car, whatever, and then my mind gets distracted and I don't have to work on that, right? But right now, everything that was outside, keeping us entertained and out of focus, is moving away. So we can see reality. And reality is we do live with our mind every day, right? You want to say something about that, Carla? Maybe, maybe you have an insight that you can share with the girls.
No, I just think that I think a lot of the times what ends up happening, at least for me, I'll be honest, like, you know, it's not a secret. Life is not perfect. Being home all day with Sergio, with Sebastian is a
With
lot.
this stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot. And I know Maggie mentioned something about that. So for me, it's like, well, I'm going to confess, like, because when you were saying that, I was thinking, no wonder we love going to the movies. No wonder we love going to things, because it takes us away from reality and it puts us somewhere else. We don't have to be with our own thoughts. We don't have to be with our reality. But right now, for me, like, I don't know about everybody else, but like, since all the entertainment is gone, I keep myself very busy working. Like, that is my distraction, right? So I don't have to face the reality of, that Sergio and I get on each other's nerves, or that Sebastian's making a mess. So I'm just like, okay, let me just go into my happy place and I just work. So, I mean, I could, yeah, it's hard to be with your own thoughts, I think, but I don't know if anybody has any questions. Somebody private messaged me if you could still ask questions. I said, yes, of course, but they get all shy afterwards. Does anybody have any questions? Raise your hand or you can unmute yourself. You guys get all shy, okay.
Right? So in the meantime, if you look at it, even if you find a distraction, you have no choice. It's like either you're working and trying to get yourself away from everything else that is happening, or you are in that reality. It's like you don't have too many choices. Before, it was like, okay, I can be working, I can be going to the movies, I can, meet with some friends, I can go and make some plans for whatever, go to the gym for 3 hours, whatever it is. But I don't want to see what's going on in reality in my life. Right? And right now it's like, I have no choice. I have to be there. So how is it that I'm going to handle? I know. I like that silence. Don't worry. I do. I do, because that means I am hidden deep. It's like if I have all of you say, oh my God, that is so cute, so nice, so beautiful, whatever it is, I will be like, we are not doing anything. We're just splashing.
Hi, good morning, you guys. It's Maria.
Hi.
Hi, Olga. So since we've been doing this, I've really been trying to challenge myself to face things or to accept things that I haven't wanted to before. So I will log off of Instagram because if you want to get back on Instagram, you have to log on. Like they say, it's easier to go and do something if you're going to do it. Like, so I'm like, okay, if I'm trying to be mindful of my time and actually not be on social media, I'll actually log off so that when I'm going back in, I have to think about it. You said you weren't going to log on. You said you weren't. So I'm like, I put my phone down and I go back to, I force myself to go back to what I'm doing. I used to start with, when I didn't want to listen to my head, I would put on like just some kind of music so that I would be listening to something. So lately I have been, and I used to go to sleep like that too. I used to put just like soft meditation music and I would meditate and then I would finally fall asleep. I've been trying to actually turn everything off and I'm just like meditate without the music and then eventually I'll fall asleep. The first couple of nights, I didn't fall asleep till like 1 in the morning. I was like, stop it. But I'm getting better at it. I think I'm trying to take myself away from things that are not serving me anymore, you know, like that are not good for me. And what more of a good time than this, you know? If I want to buy junk food, it's not in my house, so I have to go out and get it.
And you're not gonna make it, right?
No, I'm not gonna make myself go do it. So
and even
then,
if you make it, you know, it's like
yeah,
I was telling my mom, you know, it's like, yeah, like even if you make something, it's not
yeah,
gonna taste like that because it's
no,
not the oil that they've been using for who knows how much
yeah.
time.
So with this time, I've been trying to use that. I've been trying to be more mindful of what I'm doing and turning off things. So I'm actually paying attention. So I'm actually listening to my own thoughts because that's
Yeah,
really hard.
it
So
is. It is.
thank you for helping us with that because
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. It is very hard. You know, it's like it's very hard, and that's why we need to put those boundaries um, because those are the ones that are going to protect us. You know, it's like I myself, I have Facebook on the computer. Skype is on the computer. You know, so people can reach me either on the phone with a regular phone call with a text message. You know, like very few things on my phone. That's it. Because other than that, your phone is gonna be ringing all day, and you're gonna try to be focused on something else, and you're not gonna reach any place. Mm. And what we are not noticing is that we are paying such a high price for having all this technology. And the price is that we are paying with our own consciousness, with our own freedom. You know, it's like we have become slaves of all this entertainment because in reality it is a lot of entertainment, you know. It's not that you spend a couple of hours on social media and then you say, oh my God, I learned so much. You know, it's like this was such a great time. You know, it's like, wow. When you look at it, it's like, hey, I'm sorry. You know, like no matter what you do, the time that you spend is gone and you didn't use it wisely. That's the reality. Mm. And it's funny how people now are learning how to be away from the computer, the phone, you know, like all the things that keep us away from ourselves. How hard it is for people to be in silence, you know, because it is in silence when all those thoughts, you know, like this is our unconscious mind. And normally, what we do is imagine this as water, and I give you this example with something else before. This is water, and then if you're doing like this, you're splashing, and it's always fun, right? It's like, oh my God, you can even see colors and you can hear it. It's like, well, let's keep it busy here, right? When you enter silence, then you start going down here, deeper into your own feelings, into recognizing, you know what? All this that I've been doing, it sounds so nice for everybody else, and I've been keeping all this splashing, trying to make everybody happy. But then all of a sudden, I noticed that doesn't make me feel good. And it's like that leaves me with a sense of emptiness. What am I doing? Right? And then you start entering here, saying, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel good. So we don't like that, right? And since we don't like that, then what do? Go back and splash.
So I have a question. Why
Yes.
don't we like to be with our own thoughts?
Because we are afraid of everything that we experienced in the past that leave negative experiences, negative wounds in our life. So we are constantly running away from all the pain that we experience. Like all the time. It's like if I stay by myself, I might realize that when I was little, I was abandoned. And then as an adult, when I get to my quiet place, wow, I am by myself. I am abandoned again. So thinking I am by myself doesn't mean I am with me. I am recognizing my own presence. I am happy to be the person who can take care of me 24/7, but I translate it as I am abandoned again. So I have to go and visit my place of pain, and we don't like to do that. It's like all the time. And it's not just what we have experienced ourselves directly, but a lot of information that we have received from our parents and grandparents, you know, basically is realizing there are so many things that we had put as a distraction on the way that if we put everything aside and we stay with ourselves, we feel very vulnerable. So we don't want to be there. It's like nobody wants to go outside and, well, not right now, obviously, right? But if you ask me, so who are you? And I will say, I am a human being. So what do you do for a living? Like I talk to people. That's it. Mhm. Instead of who I am, let me tell you who I am, and let me put all my degrees and my stories and my things on the table so I can impress you, right? And then when you ask me what I do for a living, then I give you a long story. Hello there. I give you a long story, trying to impress you, like trying to get your attention, trying to be important for you because I need somebody to care about me. Like I need for you to get impressed with me so that way I get a value. Other than that, I feel that I don't have a value because I don't know how to give it to myself. So that's why when we work on ourselves, we get to that point of value in which we are so connected to ourselves that our own relationship is very important. We take care of ourselves and then we learn how to take care of others in the same way. Like instead of telling the same stories that we always tell people, it's like you tell me how amazing I am, I tell you how incredible you are. And we both are happy, you know, until we find somebody else. And then when we find somebody else, one of us is going to feel really bad. And then we'll start the same game all over again, right? So that's kind of the reason why, like there are many more, but the easiest way to understand the whole thing is that.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have one more question? Anybody else?
Emma, I see Emma has a question.
Yeah, I have a question. How is it that, um, how can I make this understand? How is it that in the situation that we're living in right now, unfortunately, how can we have a better communication with the ones that are surrounding us? Like, for example, my daughter, I had a very busy day. Hard to believe, but I did. Even though I work and I don't have school right now because school was pushed online. Um, So I'm trying to manage everything in one place. Like I want to have time. I want to have time for my daughter because she's at home. She's not in school.
How
So I
old
want to.
is your daughter?
She's gonna be 12. Yeah. So yesterday I told her I made myself a promise that I was gonna spend some time with her, and I said, okay, I'm gonna do that. But then my day started going boom, 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 and then when I finally decided that I wanted to do something with her, I went to the kitchen and I started cooking because I have to make lunch for work. And then she tells me, really disappointed, you said you were going to play with me. I guess not. She starts putting all the game boards away. And I told her, I'm so sorry. I did tell you that I was, but I can't. I'm a single parent. So it's really hard for me to manage everything. And it's really hard for me to get to my homework. It's really hard I didn't even have time to do my homework, which kind of disappointed me because I know I'm a very responsible person like that. So I kind of felt bad, but I didn't know what to tell her to make that better. So I said, I promise you this weekend, I'm going to do everything I can to just put you first. And then she says, you always say that. You never do. You're always doing something. If it's
Okay,
not,
so listen to what she's saying. You know, like she didn't say it just because of what happened yesterday. She's telling you you always, right? And even though you are a single parent, the quality of the attention is what's important. You know, and I think at some point we talk about this and we put Sebastian as an example, you know, like really stop and look at him for a couple of minutes, you know, stop and talk to her, let her know what's going on, you know, like it probably came as a surprise for her what happened at the end of the day. You know, it's like you're so used to, okay, I got busy. You know, it's like it's life and it makes sense to you. Of course, you're a single parent, you have to do what you have to do, right? But what we forget is that we give people different levels of importance. You know, like almost as if it's your boss that you promise to spend some time with him, you will be like, oh, wow, I know it is already lunchtime and I haven't been able to meet you, but trust me, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna see you. And if you cannot do it, what will you do? You will call again, right? So keeping that communication because in a way, you know, what's happening right now is that everybody is either luck or very limited on what they can do. And this is very complicated, you know, like this is a very hard place to be because guess what? You are home, so it doesn't matter. I can go and see you whenever I want, right? So I am not letting you know what's going on. But if you do the opposite and, you know, like you're in touch with her all day and say, hey, this and this is going on, and you know, like let's think about what is it that we want to have for dinner. When I get there, we're gonna cook this, and you know, like maybe we can spend a little bit of time after we make dinner. You know, like to really be mindful because that's one of the things with the relationship with the kids. You know, is that they are having an expectation. And if you have the same expectation, you put that expectation in someone else who is important for you work, for example, then your communication will be totally different, right? You wouldn't leave the person waiting all day and then at the end of the day say, oh, oopsie, I couldn't, I'm busy. No, so it is communication.
Is that you?
That's true.
Thank you, Emma. I think her question, a lot of people on the chat said that they're in the same shoes. Lily, do you have a question?
No, I couldn't get in the call. Just got in.
Oh, okay. Hi, babe.
Hi.
Okay, great. And so I think we're running out of time. Do you want to say, so first of all, I thank you, Olga, for saying that. A lot of people on the chat were talking that they're in the same shoes. And it's so unfortunate that because we're so comfortable with the people that we live with, I'll speak for myself. Sometimes my husband and my son get the worst of me, the last straw of me. But I know, and what you just said really hit a chord. Like, I don't have a boss. Would I talk to one of my distributors the way I would talk to Sergio? Would I make my distributors wait the way I make Sergio wait? Would I make my distributors wait the way I make my son wait? And probably not, right? And that sucks.
Right? And like, why are we nice only under certain circumstances? Right? So it just takes our attention. It's like you are as important as anybody else. Why? Because I am not giving you an external importance. It's like you're a human being, you're part of my life, you are as important. It's like when you tell me how much you make a year, and then, I put you on my list and I return your call according to that. Nobody has a message like that on the phone, right? But that's kind of the way people work in the world. Like that's how it functions. It's like somebody's important, doesn't matter. Like even if I have to skip lunch, I will go and take care of that person who I consider important. And we are not realizing, like people who are with us and that we love and supposedly we care, they are the ones who, in reality, in our actions, we are not being conscious about the way we are treating them.
Well, on that note.
Sorry, I know it wasn't a sweet call, lovey-dovey, but unfortunately, when we are lovey-dovey, everybody happy, smile, and like that. That is just a splashing, like no, that doesn't work. We need to go deeper. We need to work. This is like when you work out. I always say, like if you hold a couple of feathers in your hands, to get more muscles in your arms. I'm sorry, that might be fun, that might look really cute, but you're not gonna gain any muscles, right? So we have to push a little bit, and feel uncomfortable. I'm sorry, feel uncomfortable. I'm happy. The most uncomfortable you feel, the better, because that's gonna help you to make a real change.
Awesome. Well, on that note, thank you so much, Olga. Thank you, everybody who connected. Just really quick, a couple of people have been asking me, how can they get a hold of you? What would be the best way? Through Facebook, or how would you?
My phone number.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, that's easier. My Facebook is on my computer. Sometimes I open the computer, I'm working on a Skype, I don't even look at the Facebook.
Great. So just to let you guys know, she is in Florida, but the way that both Sergio and I have worked with her for all these years is through Skype. So just like this, basically, but through Skype. Yes. So if you guys, I know that somebody just messaged me. If you guys want her phone number, reach out to whoever. We have the chat. You can get a hold of me, get a hold of whoever. A lot of us have her phone number if you want to set up a consultation with her. I will just tell you one thing about her, okay? Just trust whatever she tells you to do. Sometimes I'm like, why does she want me to do that? And then like later on, I'm like, oh, so every time I send someone to her, I'm like, look, she's not gonna tell you sometimes why, but she'll say, you know, I don't know, put on a hat. And you're like, why does she want me to put on a hat? And then all of a sudden it's raining. You're like, oh, that's why she told me to put on the hat. So just be mindful and trust the process is all I can say. So with that said, guys, thank you. So just as a little quick, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna change the Zoom number and change the Zoom link, because I have some that don't require passwords, which is so much easier. We just didn't want to change it all of a sudden. So thank you for your patience, and sorry for some of you who logged in late. The call is being recorded, so we'll definitely send it out to you. And thank you for Texas connecting and everybody else who's here. I'm gonna unmute you so we can all say goodbye. Hang on a quick second. Let me unmute you.
Goodbye.
There you go.